Ikorodu Road, Mushin, Surulere. You don't see the military in the streets. You see them at junctions like under Ikeja Bridge. You see them under the Marshall Bridge and those strategic places. They are not anywhere near. And if you take, I'm sure all the organizations that deployed observers are still collecting a report. The incidence of military involvement in any violence will be quite minimal. Of course, even one is enough to, be disturbing, but it will be quite minimal. And if you take that aside, what we are talking about, Akota, the situation that happened in Okota is something that shouldn't have overwhelmed the police. But did they take charge of the situation? No. It happened nonetheless. So that might even be making case for if the military had been close by, if they had been called.
Is it out of place for us to look at cause and effect in terms of the conduct of the police, where you say it should ordinarily not have overwhelmed them? Because in addressing this problem, what exactly happened? Why did it appear as though it overwhelmed them?
So, after this election, we need to audit a lot of things. We need to ask questions. We need to know why things happen. I can sit here and conjecture that, is the psyche of the police that has been battered?
From what you've seen.
The police... No, the truth is that we can sit here and say, the police probably didn't have enough equipment. And there are also reports that it appears that the police are compromised. But we need to audit this and know why. Because Okota should not have overwhelmed the police, like you said. Aguda should not have overwhelmed the police. But it did happen. Is it out of not having the wherewithal to respond swiftly and effectively? Or are there some other unseen reasons? Are people compromising on the safety of citizens during such an important exercise? We need to audit this. But in terms of military, take for instance Lagos. In terms of military, we do not have in our own observation report anywhere where the military, for instance, has been alleged of being the ones disrupting.
Is it across the country or just in Lagos?
No, I'm taking, for instance, Lagos. And our reports from... Now, there is the Rivers issues. Yeah. We have heard about the Yobe issues. We don't know the circumstance of the incidents of the young man. It's unfortunate that was killed in Yobe. The fact that there was also killing in Rivers is also unfortunate. But the reports that have come presently from Rivers is that there were people who were coming to disrupt the election. They formed a barricade on the street to lure the military. So it's a shootout. It wasn't an issue between military and unarmed civilians. The preliminary reports we have. By the time we audit this, it may change. It might be that, the military just went crazy and started to shoot at civilians. But what we have now, because don't forget, a lieutenant died. So if that happened, it means that it wasn't a scuffle between military and people who came to vote peacefully.
Now, concerning that particular case, in terms of the involvement of the military, were you able to, do you have any preliminary assessment or reports from TMG or otherwise concerning how they got involved in that in the first instance? I'm talking about the military now.
We do not have from our own observers how that happened. We are relying right now on the statement that have been made by the agency. But that's why I said we need a thorough audit of these happenings across the country.
Okay, now, assuming without considering that that's the case, what ordinarily should have happened in terms of the process with which the military gets involved, if at all they should, in these normal cases?
So in our elections, we have decided to use military. It's unfortunate, but we have decided... Yes, really, this is the truth. We have decided to involve the military in our elections. And we didn't just do that out of flamboyance, out of want to show force. It's because we know that the police is easily overwhelmed in a lot of places. Our police system, our police force is not sufficiently adequately equipped and motivated or even numbered to take care of some of the internal challenges we are having.
What do you think is responsible for that?
It's years and years of military rule and irresponsibility of the civilian populace, civilian rulers when they came into power. Because between 1999 and 2009, that is 2 decades, you can build a formidable police force. But they didn't do that. Police money have been stolen time and again in this country. Money for equipment and kits for police have been stolen time and again. Police pension have been looted in this country.
Let me get the views of Mr. Ezeala, because the ballot is to be the target in most areas in Lagos today. How do we work around that very point where the ballot will be seen, or should I say to demystify the ballot, or should I say to structurally protect the ballot such that it doesn't get into the hands of these area boys or these thugs who are bent whatsoever to subvert the actions of the police, to find a way to devise a way to go around the police who are meant to also protect those areas? How do we protect them, the ballot, from getting into the hands of thugs?
I think first is the concept of responsibility. People must be responsible for their actions. If you look at, if you had observed what happened in Nigeria between 1987 and 1993, you would see that when there are violence, when there is problem or interference with the electoral system, people are brought to book. Or we are relatively, not necessarily that we were doing the right thing at that time, but there was a little will to bring people to book. But I'm not saying that it was very good at that time. But between 1999 and today, you see that anything that happens, no problem. People hijack this, just like this time around, you have people that use their phone to capture some of the people that hijack the ballot boxes. Nobody punishes them. Nobody queries the policeman on duty. Nobody queries the divisional police on duty on why they were not able to do this. For instance, now, this...
We can't exactly say for sure if they're not queried.
Okay,
if it's not made public.
If they if somebody is queried, if somebody is queried and somebody is charged to court for the dereliction of duty...
There are two different things.
Somebody is suspended from police force for the dereliction of duty. Somebody is suspended from the DSS group. Take, for instance, if it's a state that is functioning, some of these things will be known by the DSS.
But a query may or may not lead to either suspension or charging them to court.
No, meaning that these people that are supervising do not know what to do. Because if somebody has done something which you intend to be an example to others, if, for instance, the DPO of the area didn't do the right thing, and you suspend the DPO, people should know, so that other policemen will also know that because this DPO did not do well, he is now being suspended for this.
So in other words,
now, if the DPO did well and there were some, yes.
If they are going to query any officer as a result of elections, infractions or otherwise, it should be made public.
Sure, it should be made public. And beyond that, just like what the police sometimes do, if for instance, there are problems in a police post, maybe issue of robbery around, issue of, like the other time in Onitsha, they had a problem where the police maybe assaulted a lawyer and processes were going on and people were made to understand that something took place. Either the person was transferred or something. You know, you must do something that will bring confidence on the people. You must
do something that will bring confidence to the people when it says that it will transmit results electronically. But in this instance, at what point would you say INEC should start that transmission? Should it start from the ward level such that as soon as those ballots are being counted, before the ballots even leave that place, or as soon as each person is counting, is casting his ballot, and they are able to make some form of assessment, the results are being transmitted to render the ballots physically there useless?
Yes. No, ordinarily, what INEC had intended is, as soon as you're counting, the presiding officer will transmit. The presiding officer will transmit at that point. But then the training we have, which is another discussion, on whether the INEC officials were sufficiently trained. From what we saw in the field, from the observations, both MBA observations, and you see that the INEC officials, just like the card reading problem, some of them do not understand how to operate the card reader. Some of them don't understand how to transmit these results. And beyond that, some of them do not understand what they should do at the end in many of the areas that we observed. We find out that...
I just want to get to Professor Omarman just before we go to break, because he's been waiting for a while. My apologies, really. But Professor Omarman, as quick as you can, in terms of your observation on what happened yesterday, you must have a margin of error. Did it fall within or exceed your margin of error, whatever shortcomings that may have exhibited itself yesterday?
Well, the scope actually is less than what I thought could happen, given past antecedents. And they are quite limited in nature, from Lagos to Port Harcourt. Probably it's in Port Harcourt that we have the scale is a bit higher But otherwise, they are really in units here and there. And then no community is directly involved in the matter, unlike in the previous past where you see an entire community reacting to what you may call some form of injustice, or what they saw, they perceived to be some form of injustice. So to that extent, we still have made quite a lot of progress, actually. And so all that we need to do now is to, again, take the responsibility back to the politicians, because I believe they are the ones creating the terrain for what has been happening through what they say, what their desperation to get to power, Prof, through all means.
Just give us a moment on this one. We'll need you to, speak a little more elaborately when we come back on why you think that is the case. Stay with us.